We spend so much of our lives afraid of mistakes. Afraid they'll embarrass us, break us, ruin us. But what if the very thing you fear is actually the thing that grows you? Today, I want to share a story, simple, quiet, but deeply true, about an old man named Alexander, a wounded fox, and the secret of growth that most people never learn. There was a small village resting at the edge of a great forest. A peaceful place where mornings began with rooster calls and nights echoed with the soft chorus of crickets. In that village lived Alexander, an old wise man. He wasn't wealthy, he wasn't powerful, but people traveled from far away just to hear a few words from him. Because his wisdom didn't come from books, it came from watching life, season after season. One morning, as Alexander walked toward the river to fetch water, he noticed something unusual by the bank. A small fox, its fur dirty and tangled, its paw swollen, its sharp eyes dimmed by pain. Most villagers believed foxes were thieves, cunning, untrustworthy, troublemakers. But Alexander didn't see a problem. He saw a creature struggling to survive, just like humans do when they fall. He knelt down and whispered gently, "Why do you hide your pain, little one? Even wounds carry lessons. Mistakes are not the end of your story." The fox was too weak to run, so Alexander carried it home, cleaned its wound, fed it scraps, and let it rest near the warm fire. Days passed. The fox slowly regained strength, but one evening, while Alexander worked, the fox tried to steal some food from a basket by the door. In its haste, it knocked over the grain, spilled everything, and even toppled a water pot, flooding the floor. The crash startled Alexander. He turned around. The fox froze, terrified. It expected anger. But Alexander simply smiled. He cleaned the floor and said, "Mistakes are not sins, little fox. They're mirrors. What matters is not the fall, but the wisdom you carry when you rise." And for the first time, the fox felt something new, safety. The next day, he took the fox into the forest. They stopped by a massive oak tree, bent and scarred. A jagged lightning mark ran down its trunk. "See this?" Alexander said. "It was struck, burned, and broken. Many thought it would die. But look around you, it grew again. Crooked, yes, but strong. The forest does not laugh at its scars. It honors them, because every scar tells a story of survival." The fox sat quietly, listening in its own way. That night, when tempted to steal again, it hesitated. Instead, it sat patiently beside Alexander. He smiled and handed it a piece of bread. "You see, when you learn, you grow. A mistake repeated becomes a chain. A mistake learned from becomes a key." Weeks passed. The fox grew stronger, wiser. When it stumbled chasing prey, or slipped into the river, or wandered too close to danger, it didn't panic. It remembered Alexander's words. Each fall became a lesson. Each lesson became a step. Then one evening, villagers came running. "Alexander, a pack of wolves is stealing our chickens. We tried traps, nothing works. What should we do?" Quote. Alexander looked toward the fox. Villagers gasped. "A fox? You can't be serious. Foxes are sly." Alexander simply shook his head. "Even those you doubt can teach you something if they've learned from their mistakes." That night, under the moonlight, he released the fox. Quiet, focused, clever, not from trickery, but from growth. It lured the wolves deep into the forest until the village was safe. By dawn, the villagers stood in awe. "How is this possible?" they asked. Alexander replied softly, "The fox was not born wise. It stumbled, it failed, it learned, and that learning became strength." From that day on, the fox became Alexander's companion. They walked together through the forest, sat together by the river, rested together by the fire. Children would gather around them and ask, "Grandfather Alexander, how do we succeed in life? How do we become strong?" Quote. And Alexander would say, "Do not fear mistakes. Fear only the refusal to learn. Every scar on the fox, every wrinkle on my face, every broken branch in this forest, all of them prove one thing. Growth doesn't come from perfection. It comes from persistence." Years passed. Alexander grew older. The fox earned new scars, but also new wisdom. Together, they became symbols of resilience, proof that anyone can grow if they're willing to learn from their mistakes. My friend, mistakes are not the end. They are beginnings. Each failure carries a hidden gift, the chance to grow stronger, wiser, braver. If this story touched your heart, remember this: fall, rise, learn, and walk again. That is the secret of growth. If you enjoyed this story and want more life lessons like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Self-Made You, and share this with someone who needs a little encouragement today. Thank you so much for spending your time with this story today. I truly appreciate you being here, listening, reflecting, and growing with me.